Morning, everybody. Holly here. It is day 20 of the You Woke Up Worthy journaling experience, and one day left. That's it. It's already been almost 3 weeks, which is a little hard for me to believe because it doesn't feel like it's been that long, but really covered a lot of ground, and I'm actually really excited about today. Today was a good one. So day 20 is called You're Already Doing It. And this one was fantastic because a lot of times when we're working on some kind of project or, trying to work on ourselves or meet some kind of goal, it's really easy to get overwhelmed and just look at how far we have to go and start thinking about how it's too much or you're never going to get it done or, it's so far to go. And the author encourages you to look at how far you have come already. You may have a lot of work ahead of you, but if you focus on all of the work that you've already achieved, then number one, it can be reassuring that you are capable, and number two, it can help motivate you when you see everything that you have accomplished, and it makes it that much easier to keep moving forward. So the prompt for the day is she asks that you write letters to your younger self. Write a letter to you 5 years ago, 3 years ago, and 1 year ago, just to kind of check the progress that you've made over the last few years without even realizing it. So I'm just going to kind of hit the bullet points of mine. So 5 years ago, I was still very uncomfortable with my faith and discussing my beliefs with others. I had spent a long time being told by a lot of people that I couldn't call myself a Christian because I didn't believe the same as they believed or whatever the case may be. So I found myself in this place of not even knowing how to describe myself in terms of my faith. So yeah, I was very uncomfortable with that. I still hadn't come to terms with my honest feelings in regards to my abortion and the subject of abortion in general. I called myself pro-choice because I had such deep sympathy and empathy for women that found themselves in the position of making that incredibly painful choice. I knew from my experience that sometimes that choice doesn't feel like a choice. It feels like this thing you have to do even if you don't want to do it. And you can say what you want about, other options. You don't have to do it. There's no reason. There's no excuse. But until you feel that feeling of, I have no choice, you'd never understand. And I felt so badly for the women that found themselves in that position that my sympathy wanted to make a difficult thing as easy for them as possible. Plus, I was not ready to think of myself in the terms, because if you acknowledge that abortion is murder, then you have to think of yourself as a killer. And that is something that very few of us are willing to do. It's not a way we want to think of ourselves. So me saying for years that I was pro-choice, I think was kind of a form of denial about how I was really feeling about myself and my my experiences and how those things conflicted with my actual beliefs. So that was a big one too. 5 years ago, I was still looking for any excuse to contact my father. I would pray that he would have some kind of eye-opening, life-altering experience that would make him want to repair things between me and him, and also between him and my brother. And I prayed for that a lot. 5 years ago, I was still allowing toxic friends to take energy from me, to drain me, to leave me feeling a little used, a little frustrated. 5 years ago, I knew that my current relationship with Ryan would never last. I just considered myself lucky that he was having anything to do with me, because I just knew he was too good for me, and I treated it the same way I had treated many of my past relationships, which was, well, I'll enjoy this as much as I can while it lasts, and I was just waiting for it to kind of fall apart. And 5 years ago, I had no idea what I wanted to do with my life. I was just really lost and not a great sense of purpose, and no clue how to go about getting one. 3 years ago, I was much more comfortable with my faith. My time with Ryan has been rewarding in so many ways, but one of them is that Ryan was the first person that made me feel really comfortable with my beliefs, and he would ask me why I didn't consider myself a Christian, and I would explain to him what other Christians had told me over the years and how, I didn't fit into their club. And he just asked me, well, do you accept Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior? And I said, yes. And he said, well, then you're a Christian. Like, that's the big one. That's the big requirement. And to him, it was just as simple as that. And it wasn't quite that simple to me, but it was the first time that I thought, maybe. But regardless, I did start becoming much more comfortable with my faith. It was very refreshing having someone tell me that my faith was okay. And even if I didn't follow all of their same rules, that it was okay for me to believe what I believed. And that probably one of the greatest compliments that I ever received was from Ryan, and he said that I may not call myself a Christian, but that I had one of the best Christian hearts of anyone that he had ever met. He said that you love your fellow man the way that Christians are told that we're supposed to, but that very few of us ever do. And that was one of the greatest compliments I had ever received from anyone in my life. I still carry that and kind of treasure that. 3 years ago, I had started coming to terms with my true feelings on abortion, including my own. It was wading through a lot of painful feelings, but was a rewarding experience, having gone through that. 3 years ago, I was still praying that my father would get it together and reach out to me. 3 years ago, toxic friends were still around. I was still waiting for my relationship with Ryan to come to an end, and I still didn't know what I wanted to do with my life. A year ago, I really embraced my faith. Very comfortable with my relationship with God and myself. I owned all my feelings about my abortion. Again, painful, very painful. And I started the difficult, sometimes impossible seeming task of trying to forgive myself. A year ago, I stopped looking for reasons to contact my father. I just let go of that completely. Said goodbye to the last of the toxic friends. Started to think that my relationship with Ryan might work out. Started to think that I knew what I wanted to do with my life. I just didn't know if I could actually do it. And today, I am very comfortable with my faith. Am I a Christian? Who knows? I guess that depends on your definition of a Christian. I think that that's a label that we use for the outside world so that they can identify us much the same way that you might say, oh, I'm a northerner, or I'm a Gemini, or whatever the case may be. It's a label that you use so that other people know who you are. God knows who I am, and I'm starting to really understand who I am, and I don't need the label for that. So, am I a Christian? If you think I am, then I am to you. And if you don't, then I'm not. Owning my feelings and going through all of them in regards to my abortion, it doesn't mean that there's no pain. Pain is still there, regret is still there, grief is still there, but I am being more open and honest about that. For a long time, my grief I just kept to myself because, if someone loses a child, they mourn that child and they have sympathy from everyone around them, because that's such an awful position to be in. Most women that go through an abortion don't get sympathy because it's very much seen as well, you did this to yourself, and what a lot of people don't know is that there's a lot of us that are secretly grieving, and we think about the same things that other people that have lost children think of. We think about things like, my child would be this old now, and we wonder about things. What would that child be like? Would they be a good athlete? Would they be funny? Would they be a little brainiac? What traits and quirks of mine would they have picked up? We think about all these things, and we don't get answers to our questions any more than anyone else does. But then we also have the added layer of guilt and shame because our questions are unanswered because of something that we did. And it's very hard. You don't get a lot of sympathy. And I'm sure that some of you are sitting and thinking, well, you don't deserve a lot of sympathy. But if, for those that would like to actually bring an end to abortion or drastically reduce the numbers, I can promise you this. If you don't bring compassion to the table, you're never going to get through to the people that you'd like to get through to. It starts with compassion. Today, I pray that my Father makes peace with whatever it is inside him that he doesn't have peace with. I will never believe that a happy, healthy individual just chooses not to have a relationship with either of his children, just chooses to hold on to grudges for decades, doesn't have forgiveness in his heart. I can't accept that a healthy, whole individual, they just don't live that way. There is a sickness in him, something, there's a hole, and I personally think it is something spiritual and emotional. So I pray for him to find peace with whatever it is he needs to find peace with, but I no longer want him in my life. It's unfortunate, but my life is happier and healthier without him in it. I almost wavered in regards to toxic friendship that I had brought to an end. There was a part of me that wondered, had I been too harsh? And as usual, as always happened in the past, I felt sorry for this individual, and that always affected the way that I handled things. But when I wavered, fortunately, this person showed me that I was right to create the distance that I had. The distance was good. The distance was necessary. That person is still the same person that they always were, right where I left them, and will probably, well, may always be that way. Maybe not. I don't know. But I'd let go of all of my feelings of guilt. I don't feel bad about removing this person from my life. It was the best thing for me, and it's important to put myself first at times and say, this is what I need for me, regardless of how it may affect someone else. Because if I am not happy and healthy, then none of the relationships in my life can be truly happy and healthy. I'm feeling much better about my relationship with Ryan. I feel more confident about it moving into the future. I still think that I'm very lucky to have him in my life, but on a good day, I think maybe he's lucky to have me too. And I think I know what I want to do with my life now. In fact, I'm pretty sure of it. And I'm now working on all of the little things that need to be done in order to do the big things to make those dreams realities. And it's hard work and a little bit overwhelming sometimes. And sometimes I find myself standing still looking around saying, what do I do now? But I'm getting there and I'm figuring that out. And I'm excited about it. I'm excited about the the next steps. And hopefully I'll be sharing parts of that journey with you. And I've appreciated the support that's come my way, and I hope that I continue to have your support, and I hope that I can support you in your future dreams. So let's take care of the affirmations, and then we'll be done for the day. I woke up worthy today. Simply by waking up, I am worthy of everything my heart desires. I am a beautiful soul, inside and out. I love myself deeply and completely. I am perfect at being me.